Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well. Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Facilities Advisory Committee, Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. So we'll go do a roll call. So
Sure.
Start.
Don Bristleton, committee member.
Tim Willis, alternate.
Alan Mangan, vice chair.
Julie Gilman, Selectman Rep, not voting.
Melissa Roy, interim town manager.
And I am Mark Layton. I am the director. I'm not the director. Sorry, I am the chair of this committee. Sorry,
Wrong job.
Day job. Yeah, sorry about that.
I get confused.
All right. So our agenda for tonight. So we have to thank you for joining us today. I did send out some meeting minutes from our last meeting.
Yes.
Did any comments or revisions?
I was not here, so I'll abstain.
I'm not sure we'll have enough to approve that if we. Tim, you were here.
Yeah, no, they look good.
Okay.
Good to me.
Good.
So can three of us vote to approve the meeting minutes out of 6?
What is your quorum?
We have 6 members. And we have our alternate tonight.
Okay. Just trying to think.
Let's just try it and see what it holds.
Hold on, yeah.
I mean, you can do anything you want, it seems these
Just trying to
days.
think. So isn't your quorum 4? 1, 2, 4.
I don't count.
No, I know, but one, yeah, so.
But Don's going to abstain though.
Oh, Don's abstaining.
I think he can vote anyway.
Even though he wasn't here?
Yeah.
Yes, you can, yeah, you can.
They look right, don't they?
Yeah, I did.
He watched the video online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I did.
All right, can I get a motion to approve those minutes then?
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, meeting minutes from last month are approved. Okay, next on the agenda was just if we have an update on the police station.
Yeah, so thank you for having me tonight. We're making some really good progress. We are expecting in the next 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks, 70% schematic design docs, which is very exciting. We're gonna use those documents to then put out an early bid package for site work. And the reason for that is we've spent a lot of time shrinking down the building to what we can afford. It still functions, we're very, very excited, but there's really nothing left to take at this point. The biggest unknown for the project is the land itself. There's a lot of boulders, we know that there's some ledge. So what we'd like to do is put out the early site package and start working on the site work so that if we come across something unexpected, which we're all gonna cross our fingers and toes that is not what happens, we would not miss the opportunity to go to the March warrant if we needed 100,000, 200, something enough to get us over the unexpected costs. So we're doing that. It is a 2-story building. Like I said, we've cut square footage, we've lowered ceiling heights, we've done all kinds of things, but it will be net zero. With the net zero, at a minimum, it will be net zero ready. So there is a carport in the back. So because we had to shrink the square footage of the building was not large enough to hold enough solar panels to make the building net zero. So there's going to be solar panels on the top, and then we have to install a carport, which will hold additional solar panels to make the project net zero. If we are unable to get money from the warrant, or if we need it, depending on the site work, what we will be doing is phase 1 would be the building, getting it ready to accept the carport, and then phase 2 would be putting on another warrant at another time for the carport, which once that gets turned on would make the building net zero. So the building is going to be ready to go, all ready to be net zero, but we're trying to be proactive because a lot of the projects that we're getting bid out and we're getting results and costs are just very expensive, so we're trying to prepare people that there is that possibility, and trying to figure out what to do if that happens. I'm trying to think of what else we've got going on.
What was the date again for those documents to be?
So we're expecting them at the end of September. We're trying to go out to bid for site work, to have the work done in October, November, so that if we run into something, that we will not miss the select board budget in January, and get on the warrant for March. Now, that all being said, we hope that everything goes swimmingly and we put our stuff in the ground and everything goes according to plan, but this is just a backup planning so that we don't miss the timeline for it.
When you say the site bid package, like what's included with the site? Is it utilities and else?
Yep, so it's essentially we need to get into the ground to the best of our ability. So they've used the current borings, the geotechnical that we've done, to try to put the building in the least impactful location and in certain direction. And you'll see it's like not directly parallel to the street. It's a little bit askew, and that's again trying to avoid some ledge and different things. But yes, that I will have to get back to you on that, but I'm almost positive about the utilities being part of the site work.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was going to be foundations or if you're going to be doing just prepping the ground for...
No, the hope is to try to do foundation to get as much as we can get done.
Okay.
To make sure that there are no issues. And we will be working to put in a small application for a small wetland impact to the front part. It's a naturally man-made. I know that the state of New Hampshire does not differentiate, but it's runoff from the way that the local street kind of empties into this corner, and it will allow us to have better access to the front of the building. So that's a last minute decision. trying to think, any other questions? I feel like I'm not doing a good job explaining it, I
Oh,
apologize.
yeah.
I feel like I've been living and breathing this project, but.
Yeah. So has there been any changes with the partners that you're using? You're still using your owner's rep and the CM that you hired for pre-construction?
So we are not using the owner's rep. So our OPM, we got rid of, or we parted ways with the OPM. Well, I don't think DD was done yet. It was about halfway before that. So essentially they had gone over a lot of turnover, and we were on like our third project manager, and finally it was just the right time to both walk away, I guess I would say, yeah.
Okay.
And so we have Ekman Construction, which is our CM, and we have our architect, which is T-Gas, or Ted Gallant out of Boston. And so Ekman is sort of operating kind of as an OPM owner's rep, but we're all on all of the calls and everything.
Okay.
But happy to have you join if you'd like to join our weekly meeting.
No, but maybe somebody else wants to do it, yeah.
If
So that's
anybody would like to
interesting.
join.
So I'm sorry that didn't work out. We were, at the beginning of the project, we were, as a committee, was excited to have, that you had an owner's
So were
rep.
we. Yeah,
So
and it
it's
just
unfortunate.
it wasn't working, and it was a shame because I think we had come here, we had gone to the select board saying, you know, that this was the process that we wanted to do. The one thing I would say is that we've done a ton of value engineering, and I think that both the engineering, the architect group and the CM are both well aware that we don't want to ask for anything. And so we're really kind of nickel and diming at this point. Our contingency is lower than what I would say would be considered industry standards, and that's why we're doing the early site package, trying to make sure that that doesn't become a problem. But it's really hard to go back to town meeting and ask for contingency money.
Right.
Because that's like, we have the budget, but we don't, we're nervous about contingency. So it's not like I can say, hey, we really need $200,000 for this. It's, well, in a perfect world, our contingency would be a little greater. So it's kind of a funny situation to be in.
So when you get to the 70% design documents, and you're going to use that, you have the early package for site.
Yep.
Will Ekman also provide an updated estimate at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's the other thing, is none of this has been bid out, right? So we're still working on estimates at this time.
All the utilities and everything will be sorted out with that package, right? To be brought to site,
To what?
to be brought to the site?
Yes.
Like that's everything?
Yep.
And
So
generator
we're
stuff?
generator, is that what you said, or
Yeah.
general?
Generator.
So we have to have a gas generator, and since we're across the street from Unitil, because it's a 24/7 public safety building, we can build the building to be net zero, but we have to make sure that in an emergency that we
Yeah,
can.
you have backup.
Exactly, so it is going to be a gas generator, which is allowable
Yeah.
for this concept of net zero, but it only used in an emergency, so that's all set there. You asked me another thing, I'm
Just
sorry.
about you, I'm just worried about,
Yeah.
well, I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
I know that it's an EOC being set up over there because that's the
Yes.
emergency center, right?
Correct,
I
so,
just was wondering what was
yeah,
the
so
backup
we're
system.
working with Unitil, so we have the gas line going in for the generator. The site really wasn't conducive to geothermal, unfortunately, and neither was our budget, to be 100% honest. What else have we done? Well, I feel like we've done so many different ways to skin this cat. It's been an interesting process.
Yeah, and the equipment is getting more and more expensive
Yeah.
every 3 months. That's a big bump.
Yeah, and I'll give the fire department and the police department a lot of credit, because if you guys remember, we went through sort of a space needs assessment with LBA, and I think it was like a 26,000 square foot building is what they were proposing, and then it went down to 23,000 when we went to the warrant, and we're down to like 19,700. So we have significantly cut this down, and so everything that's in this building is, we need it to function.
Yep.
There is a tiny, tiny bit of space to grow, but they can do their jobs and do it effectively. But there really is no extra opportunity because our budget was just so difficult. And we, not complaining, understood that that's just how that goes. That's what was voted on. We had a lot of conversations of, okay, have we cut so much that this doesn't work anymore? Because that doesn't help the town either, right? To get into a building that instantly doesn't work. And through a lot of discussions, it was determined, no, this still works, but this is like it. Like if this is as small as we can kind of go to be faithful to what the residents voted for.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I mean, construction keeps going up and up, and then you're losing some of the, probably you had hoped to get some rebates or some things from the solar, which that's not going to happen anymore. And then just, I mean, the longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to get, so.
Which is why we'd like to, if possible, sort of do this phase 1 and phase 2 so that the building still gets built, because even if we wait a year, then the building becomes even more expensive.
Exactly.
I'd rather have the carport get a little more expensive, that's a
Yeah.
much smaller number, than the whole building get more expensive, so.
I think Ekman is a well-known, well-respected firm. Like, if you're not bidding this until September and you want to start in November, I think that's pretty aggressive. But, I mean, they're the ones that we'll have to.
They've been
assist
talking to some folks, getting them ready to know that this
Okay.
is coming, is my understanding.
I'm sure. I'm sure they have.
Yeah, so it is aggressive, we know that, just
Yeah.
because when we started to realize what the timeline to get it on a warrant would be, they had to go into sort of hyperdrive here, but
Yep.
Is 70% far enough to get a foundation drawn?
it is. So we didn't think it was going to be. Ekman, I think, was not used to, the architect that we work is out of Cambridge, and their 70% is, in what Ekman said, far more detailed than what they're normally used to seeing at 70%. So it worked in our favor, which is fantastic. But they felt comfortable that they were able to
Yeah.
use 70%. Yeah. Because we didn't think so either at first.
You know, a lot of your underground utilities
Yeah.
impact your piers and stuff.
Just a note on not having the owner's rep. If the budget still allows it, I think, especially with the town staffing the way that it is, there's a tremendous benefit to have an owner's rep to help you with the day-to-day management. You have a CM, but there should be still oversight of both parties, right? The design and the CM. So just a plug that if you can do it, whether obviously would be a different owner's rep, there's a lot of value to have somebody to help you with that, especially short-staffed as you are right now.
Could not agree more.
So-
Unfortunately, we just had to ask the select board Darren Winham, our economic development director, had worked with the state under the Housing Champions, I'm gonna say this wrong, but Invest New Hampshire, right? Housing Champions. And through a project that he had worked on with Gateway, was able to get $560,000 to the town last year, which is
Spend it any way we
fantastic.
want.
Wow.
Which is like, the state never does that. And so we had to put that towards the project, and even including that, plus the savings from the OPM, were still at a minimum
Yep.
contingency. So
Yep.
we're really trying to think outside the box, and I would prefer to have an owner's rep here. I just don't know how we pay for it.
Well, Mark, picking up on that, one item of caution is, because you got the contractor, you got the architect, but the architect's management fees during construction may start to go up.
Yeah, that's
because they're
true.
going to be more involved.
Yep, that's right.
And usually that's on a cost basis.
Yeah,
So,
I can look into that, certainly.
yeah.
Yeah.
You'll want to watch that because there'll be more site inspections,
yeah,
there might be more.
because their fee was probably built on so many.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and somebody's going to have to make these decisions
Yep.
to the contractor, and it's going to have to be the architect.
Yeah, you might be saving, exactly, you'd be saving some money on this side, but then it's increasing on that. Well, we've offered this before, but I would suggest as a committee that we're offer this again, that anything we can to help, even if we could review the 70% design documents. If there's
That would be
something, of course, I
fantastic.
mean, I don't think any of us can take the spot of an owner's rep, but we can definitely try to help minimize the impact of that, so.
That would be fantastic. I know we would love that. Is there a single person or multiple people that want to, like, do I send something out to the group?
You can send it to me and I can share it with the group. I mean, if that's, before there was some concern
So that's
a security.
That's what I was just gonna say, that's why, so we're not posting the layouts
Yeah.
online, we're posting, the facade of the building or some stuff like that. But because of the police
Yeah.
being the police security, we're not releasing the floor plans at this time.
I'll throw this out as an idea. If you have them here,
Yeah.
then we could come visit
Okay.
and we can look at them here.
Sure.
Not as a meeting, but maybe we
Yeah.
could come to.
Sure,
the
anybody's
planning
welcome
office.
to my office anytime, and I have, the set I have right now, I think was only 50%, so I don't think it would be helpful, but.
Yeah. So I throw that out as a committee. I mean, once you get those, if we'll have another meeting in September, so maybe we can talk about it again then. But I mean, anything we can do as far as I think there's a lot of talent on the table, so we could at least help you and say, well, maybe it's design review comments or even some suggestions for BE that maybe that we can come up with. So yeah, think about it. You're
I
not getting
can
into
tell you
it.
right now, we would appreciate it.
Well,
so
I'd love to do it.
anything,
Yeah.
Thank
So I
you.
think all of us.
Okay.
And maybe we all just take a time to look at it. We can consolidate comments and get them to you in a timely manner.
Thank you.
So okay, all right. So we can do that. So thank you for that update. Any questions from the committee?
No, I heard it before.
yeah. So I'm sure it's been a long road and a frustrating road. So
Give the team a lot of credit.
The time of the equipment is just going back and back, like when you're ordering,
lead
especially
time,
transformers is a big one right now.
I know.
Metering is a problem, and
Yeah.
generators and air
Yeah.
conditioning units, they're just keep going back and back and hard to get.
I mean, that would be another one with that early the 70% that you could do a pre-purchase of equipment.
We've talked about
Yeah.
that a little
Yeah.
bit, and for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Would it be site work and some of these early lead time or long lead time
Yeah.
items? So we've got that sort of on the docket.
Yeah, I would look at anything that is significant on equipment. Is a lot of times January and February the price increases, right?
Yeah.
So if there's radio equipment or any of the security equipment, a lot of this stuff you'll see these annual increases happen at the beginning of the year. So if there's pre-purchase that happens in October, November, you might save a few percentage points on that.
Okay.
Sometimes it's more of it. Sometimes it's 10 to 15%,
Yeah,
especially if there's
that's
tariffs
great.
involved.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, anything that's on a larger scale. Okay, do you mind giving us an update on Parks and Rec?
I do. I love Parks and Rec, actually, I love them both. But I got to walk through the building yesterday, which is really exciting to see from us purchasing an old, an office building, a farmhouse converting to an office building, and now to a community center. So it's been pretty exciting. We had a deadline of August 31st through our grant process, but we did request a 30-day extension because our ADA lift is on back order. They will be finished with everything by September 30th. We're being told from the elevator company that's building the lift that it is supposed to come off the production line at the end of the week, and then they're supposed to be shipping it to us. So fingers crossed on that. Let's see, we were able to work with HDC, which is the company that we have doing the work. Steve, oh my gosh, why can't I remember?
Wilson.
Thank you, Wilson, and Shane Forsyth. They've been fantastic. They were able to do some value engineering to, I don't know if anybody's seen the site. It was like a farmhouse with an addition off the back. And originally the plan was we were gonna dormer one side of the addition on the back. Well, they were able to get it, so we lifted the whole roof up, which is a huge improvement. So we have this big, beautiful
Right.
room. We've made sure we have 2 egresses, places of assembly, all of the things. We've gone through that, but that is such a huge improvement for the Parks and Rec department, and probably where they will make their most amount of money because it's this large space. So it's very exciting. We have this beautiful senior lounge that was the sort of formal dining room of the original place that's gonna stay. Really has nice crown molding, and it has, I don't know, is it coffered ceiling that had the squares on the
Yep,
top?
yep.
Yeah. We will have an adult changing table. We have 2 ADA bathrooms,
Nice.
2 non-ADA bathrooms. Just, we're gonna have a lot of kids in the building, so as long as we have access to everything. What else were we able to do? We did merge some office spaces because the owner of the previous, it was very tiny, very, very tiny little there was probably 12 office spaces. So some of those were merged. We're gonna have 5 large program spaces, which will all be ADA accessible. There will either be carpet tiles or laminate flooring. So all the transitions for walkers, wheelchairs, all that, or cleaning up after children or whatnot is easy to do. Let's see what else. We have the parking lot is going to be regraded right now. When you go to pull in, there's sort of like a funny Y shape. You don't know which way you're going in or out. So that's going to be removed. So it's just a single in and out. Will be restriped. What else? It's just going really well.
It's good. So
Yeah.
besides, so we're at end of August. So is so everything will be done by the end of September.
Everything will be done by the end of September.
Okay.
They're painting right now. They're finishing up. I was in there yesterday. So there was a few HVA split the heads being installed. There does need to be a small ramp attached to the deck that's out back to make that ADA accessible. That's supposed to be happening in the next few weeks. Just in my head trying to, the flooring is coming next week. So they're putting all the flooring down next week.
So besides the ADA lift, they were still behind a little bit on the other stuff, it looks like.
So they took their extra time. So our project manager got married 2 weeks ago, and they were going to push with him being in France, and then we told them we'd rather don't push it if we are going to have these extra 30 days. You know, we'd rather keep with the project manager we were working with.
Sure. So you've
Yeah.
requested, it will be approved then? I mean,
It's
there's-
already approved.
Oh,
Our
okay.
30-day extension has already been approved. Yeah.
Okay, and that was through the state?
Yep. And that's through the CDFA Community Development Grant.
Okay, just making notes for you.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And knock on wood, we're still on budget. So
Good.
I just want
Now what about, that's great, I mean, that's important. What's the plan to occupy the building?
the end of September.
So is that part of the budget to move? from
There's
32
not
court?
much that needs to be moved from 32 Court because
Okay.
a lot of it's program space. So they're gonna move their desks. We have
Okay.
2 park maintenance folks. They're gonna do moving of some of the equipment and furniture. But a lot of what's stored over there is summer camp equipment and sports equipment. So that will get moved to the carriage house, but that can be done. So in theory, by October 1st or so, 32 Court should be relatively empty. They'll slowly move some of the stuff out of the storage rooms and stuff, but
Okay,
that's,
good. Is it gonna be a grand opening or ribbon cutting? Right?
there is gonna be one in October. I'm waiting
Great.
for the date, and as soon I can send that to you guys.
The Parks folks have equipment over there that they didn't have room for. at times.
Exactly, so that's true, and let me clarify that again. Hold on, I just wanna make sure, send to FAC. Right, so although there's the main building and then there's a small carriage house. The carriage house isn't big enough to hold we have 2 parks folks, and then it's like a 2-bay garage where they will do work in the winter. They'll paint things, they'll get things, they spend the winter getting ready to install the stuff in the parks. So that carriage house is not big enough, and we did not have enough money to expand the carriage house. So the Parks Department is still going to use the garage for right now at 32 Court Street.
Okay.
They're going to use the carriage house for their office space. There is a single bay garage that they can do some work, but they are going to have to use that for a little bit. Yep, thank you for reminding me.
So they're gonna use the garage space at 32 Court
Correct.
a little bit longer for
Yes.
workspace.
Until we can figure a way to get them up there.
Would it be possible for us to have a tour
Absolutely.
before end of September if there's
Yeah.
interest from the committee?
Absolutely. And in fact, we meet on Tuesdays. We can do another site walk. It's usually around 12:30. If you guys want to meet us at 12:30 on Tuesday, if we post it as a meeting.
What do you guys think? Is there interest there?
I'd rather have you guys walk through now in case you see something. It gives us a few weeks to work on it.
That would be this coming Tuesday?
This Tuesday at 12:30. So that would be September 2nd.
Yeah. Let's see.
Could we get back to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just need to know I'm just trying to think of how many days, because of the holiday, it would need to be posted by tomorrow afternoon.
Could we do it the September 9th instead?
Sure.
Does that work better for?
No, I will be gone, we're traveling, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to try to
That's
keep-
right, move on.
Friday.
I know, I was just trying to think of the holiday though.
Yeah, but the meeting happens on the day after the holiday.
I always like to give 2 days. I'm an over planner.
appreciate
Let's try for September 2nd.
Okay.
Do we want to, September 2nd at 12:30 p.m.? Can everybody agree now, or do you guys want to think about it?
I should be able to make it,
Yeah.
but anything can happen.
Oh, yeah.
I could be anywhere.
I'll say,
I put myself down for it.
I'll say yes and let you know if I can.
Let me just, before I know it's, oh yeah. Yeah. I can do it. All right, well, I'll go back to you.
I was gonna say, and you'll
Yeah.
invite Rob and Chris if it works to
Yeah, I'll do
everybody
that.
else that's on the committee, 'cause
All right, so,
Okay.
so let you know by end of day tomorrow?
if you can, and then what we'll do is we'll just put an agenda that says sidewalk to be held.
By end of day.
Well, I'll confirm to you, Mark, when I get home.
Okay, all right, so that's good. So everybody, if you could just can send me an email by tomorrow, that would be, or tomorrow, that would be great. And I'll send a note out to Chris and Rob
Short
tonight.
turnaround, I apologize.
No,
No, thank you for all
It's
the
good.
offering us. Yeah, so, okay. Any other questions on the Parks and Rec project? It's good that it's almost done and that it's on budget. That's great.
Very exciting.
yes.
Okay, so the next thing is back to the space needs, which is timely. So, Liz, I'm not sure how much you're aware of this.
I am, and I actually have
Okay.
some questions and thoughts for you.
Oh, okay, well, so what I was hoping, so
Perfect.
we've been working on an outline for an RFP with Dave and that Dave would take and draft the RFP. But what we had also, as an action item from the last meeting, was to develop a project description for the CIP. So I did that today. Actually, we can take one around.
Sure.
Might be easier just to look at it. It's very brief, but I took it from our outline. And so I was thought today we could just take some time to review it, and I can take some comments, and then I can wordsmith it. When we were talking before, this was, I think this was back when Dave was attending, was that this was more of the priority, was to at least get it into a CIP, and then the outline would follow later, because you're not in a position to send an RFP out anyways. So Rob was going to attend, but he had something come up last minute, but he did text and say that he had gotten some budget numbers from some colleagues, and you'll see that I put down 70,000 for a budget number. I think we need to refine that more, but I just put that in there. I'll bring it up on my computer here. So, very much a draft. I'm not territorial, so we can also take time, and then we can send me comments. But I went back to some of CIP article or CIP documents from previous, and so I tried to see how they formatted it. It looks like the formatting has changed a little bit from the previous years to this past year, but again, your process that you guys can take if you agree with this, that you can put it in the format that you need that fits that. So this again, you can see I introduced it because we have the police complex and the 10 Hampton Road, that this is the opportunity for us to do this. So introducing why we're doing it, and then our recommendation is that before vacant space is reassigned or for renovated, that the town undertakes this. I was descriptive about it's the town hall, town office, DPW, 332 Court Street, and the Court Street Public Safety Complex, because that was in our notes as priorities. And the rest I grabbed from what we talked about to determine the most efficient, optimal use to support daily operational needs. Assessment will require outside resources, but utilize the approved management study and strategic recommendations, documented program needs, facilities condition reports. Information gathered through meetings with town leadership, department leadership, and staff. The consultant will apply independent perspectives from published best practices, similar municipalities, professional experience to develop recommendations to optimize the town's physical assets, maximize staff collaboration efficiency, and sharing of resources. So it's out of our outline. I think Dave's recommendations would kind of be short and sweet a little bit. So I'll throw that out there as you guys let me know, think about it.
I would not wordsmith it here, knowing how other items are expressed in the CIP. I would think that this would be adequate to do the job.
Correct. I agree. I think this looks great. I will say, so I did put it as the draft CIP, which was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
But I had it at 50,000 because I had not received a number at 70. So
Okay.
I apologize because I had to present it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's
So
okay.
we were.
No worries.
I think we lost the timeline a little bit through the last couple months.
That's not a problem. So they're finalizing it tomorrow night. So if it's this, I can give this to them to, like, the description. The 70,000, so one of the things I was gonna talk to you about was that our DPW director came to myself and the finance director, as we do. We get ready for budget season and CIP, we meet with everybody and we have discussions. They had an idea that the maintenance project budget that we do every year, which is about $100,000, they wanted to know what we thought about potentially using half of that money and putting it towards this, instead of it being a warrant article on its own, have it be part of the maintenance projects budget. And the reason for that was that the maintenance projects budget comes from what is needed around town, right? Just like the Bureau Veritas report is your asset management plan, and we go through and we see different things. So it would be very helpful for our maintenance department to have something like this done, because they don't want to go fix an electrical thing that came up in Bureau Veritas at Court Street if Court Street's going to be sold or leased or renovated, right? So it's very similar to what you guys are talking about. So that was a proposal. Now I will tell you that Corey and I didn't really get to answer them on whether that was what we wanted to do, but that is a proposal on the table right now.
So you can do that? You don't have to do a warrant article?
So if it was part of the maintenance project budget, right, we could do that.
Okay.
But I'm still, this is all pretty fresh about a week ago, so I would
Yeah.
have to double and triple check, but yes. And the reason of the story or the concept would be that this is going to help inform the maintenance department's future year projects, and that's why it would be connected.
I mean, I'm supportive. I mean,
How much are they willing to give us?
yeah,
I was gonna
well,
say,
I mean,
I don't, now that it's 70, I don't know that we could probably do that, but I think when it was 50, they were talking about maybe being able to do that.
I mean, I was going to suggest that if you're using 50 to 70, I mean, 70 was really, I think, Rob's reached out to a couple colleagues,
Okay.
and you know, these are things that, it's all, when you hire a consultant on this, it's about their time, right? It's the number of hours, and then that depends on the scope, obviously, but then also what information are you giving them and what are they starting with, right? And then how many buildings? And so, you know, it may get to the point where, you know, these are 6 buildings and maybe you can only afford 4 buildings at this time. And I don't know. I mean, anything to me, if you have a way to do it without having to have an extended process and go through a CIP process and hope that people understand the priority and the need of it, and you guys can. Well, let me just ask one more question. When you say, would that be out of this current year that you'd have
Would it
this?
be out of this current year? It would be next year's.
Next year's budget. Okay, so we still would have to wait until January.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, that's not that far away, though,
No.
right?
No.
So I mean, that's
It's not too far.
Yeah, that gives us time for
Yeah.
the RFP. So,
Right.
yeah.
It's true.
So I'm thinking here, if the amount of money is still flexible but never enough, and I'm looking at this list, perhaps the list does not include the town hall in this particular
Yeah.
piece, because so much work has been done already on the town hall that with the consultant using the other ones and with our own involvement
Yeah.
in that process, then we can probably bring the town hall ingredient in without an additional cost.
Or yeah.
To the consultant.
One of the reasons the finance department is in the town hall, so that was one of the reasons, one of the drivers that I was thinking like it should be included in that,
Yeah.
just because you guys have administrative department there now as far as the space needs assessment. But that's a lot smaller than
It
the
is
full
small.
town hall.
Yes.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and the town hall is going to be a separate project anyway. I mean, because the upgrades to it, and those are mostly for the performances and
Yeah.
the community use as
Right.
opposed to municipal use. So those can be separated off.
My suggestion was actually gonna be the same thing. If something needed to pull, it would be town hall, because I think you have the least amount of staff there. We know we're not gonna sell it, we're not gonna lease it, right? So I hope not anyway. I guess I guess I'm not the deciding factor, but I hope that we're not selling it or leasing it. But 30 Court Street, what we're gonna do with the other side of the police now vacating, like, I think those are the bigger questions. Town hall, I think we generally know what we'd like to use it for, we just don't know
Right.
how we're gonna get there and how we're gonna
Yeah.
pay for it. So if there was a building to remove, that would be my suggestion, but it's up to you folks.
I mean, I like it. I mean, like Ellen and Tim, what do you guys think? I mean, there's a fund source identified, and at least we can get, I mean, at least you can get the RFP out, and you don't have to wait for the CIP
Yeah, we don't have
process.
to do the assessment of the whole building.
Because there was already part of it done,
Yeah, the study that I had done, or the Arts Commission had done, didn't really include the office space, the finance
Right.
department, just the systems that
Right.
needed to keep the electrical.
Yeah,
So there were no changes to that. So that part, I think, if it fits in here, can certainly be part of the, not arguments, but the assessment and recommendations, if that's the appropriate place for finance to be, or
well, I mean,
First
they're going to start with, the finance department would be part of this unless we take
Right.
them out, right? And they would identify what the finance departments need based on whatever the Keegan study said
Right.
that they should have, right? So then with that, then I would expect that they would understand, all right, here's the space needs based on the departments that you have, and then trying to put these pieces together and complete a puzzle, but based on what space we tell them to use that for. So if we're saying we identify the finance department has this is what they need, and ideally they should be adjacent to these different departments, then they would look at, we could give them direction to say, how do we solve for this without the town hall? Is there a possibility? And then that may free up more space for the town hall work, the future
It's
work.
also the TV space.
There's a TV space. I was just gonna say, I will advocate for Corey, who is our finance director, and their team. They love their space. It's the perfect size for them. They don't wanna move.
Okay.
Unlike some of our other departments that need more space, I'm just letting you know. So if
Right,
their space got put on hold, it wouldn't be detrimental to their functioning. They like their space and they really would like to stay there. So whether that's the right thing in the long term is a different discussion. But if you had to put the town hall on sort of the back burner while you worked on some of the other ones, it wouldn't affect their working space. EXTV has enough space. Would they like more? Yes. But whether we have the capacity for that or not is sort of part of the question.
Yeah, but I think again, unless we take different departments out of the assessment, they'll still talk to all the departments and identify their space needs, and then we may say their space needs may match where they are, and they can say that's a good fit, leave them alone, but they should still go through, because you may, as this flushes out, you may say that there's a better fit with that department and with adjacencies and with other organizational changes, that maybe they should be somewhere closer to you or to.
I would prefer that, but they're fighting it. No.
Yeah, no, I know,
Just teasing.
but that's where this is what this exercise, this process flushes out, right? So you go through all this stuff, and there'll be options that you'll want to consider, like what are the pros and cons by doing this, and the first thing is identifying what you need, and I haven't read the Keegan study, but I'm hoping that they've identified that this department is understaffed or overstaffed or whatever, that they've given you they've given you the identified the growth, if there is, and that then you can plan for that, right? So that you're not, even with Parks and Rec, they're going to move into this really good building. Or let's even say the police, right? You guys have done this. The last thing you want is like, okay, you've really hurt yourself because we know you're going to add 2 more officers in, 5 years, and now we don't have space for them because of what's happening now, right? Although we don't have that building obviously as part of this, but anyways.
Well, I'll add one item with deliberate caution, and that is the chamber's there.
Chamber is there.
Chamber is there, but our informal station committee is talking about a service building in front of the station. It's very rudimentary in its concept right now, but they would like to be up there as a visitor center. We have no grasp on timing on this. It's just that that is a possibility, and I certainly wouldn't want to be accused to be the person that got threw the chamber out of their offices. But
At least with them,
they would like,
or at least with them it's annual.
So somewhere down the road, we would hope that at the station, there will be an amenities building, and part of that amenities building would be a space for a visitor center.
Julie, I'm gonna get back to you because something in my head is saying every 2 or 3 years, so I will answer
Yeah,
that, but it's
me
every
too.
few years. I can't keep, I'm sorry.
I just, that's part of,
So-
that's part of the town hall space.
All right, so if I understand correctly, the visitor center building that you're proposing for the station
Yes.
will double what the chamber does, or,
No, it would be about equivalent size space.
so the chamber wouldn't need to be there
That's, they're,
to be here in the town hall?
no, yes, the conversation so far, and it's been a very quiet conversation, is to have the visitor center out at the station. That would be the place for the chamber, not downtown.
Sort of as a welcoming
Yes.
group for the train. I was just actually speaking to Darren about it this afternoon.
Yeah,
Just
we're having
filling me
a,
in. Yeah, he
yeah,
said
we're
you
having a
guys
meeting tomorrow.
had a very, yes, I'm
Yeah.
joining the meeting. He said you guys had a very nice meeting today and
Yeah.
said it went very well.
Yes.
I've been involved in a couple of space needs and organizations, and it brings in everything, even to parking and stuff. So the parking is always a big problem because our locations are separate. But in town, everyone's kind of pretty close by. And obviously parking downtown is terrible. But I mean, they take that into consideration alone, would free up some parking spaces. I don't know where people park.
So for this building here,
Yeah.
we have a small municipal lot that I think we're like 1 car short. So whoever's last gets to
Yeah.
park in the other lot.
Yeah, but
And then the finance committee, or the finance team parks, and the EXTV parks right next to the town hall. DPW obviously has parking there, Park and Rec has parking there, so the auxiliary spaces, so.
because the more information every manager can give of the department to the consultant, because on the price.
That is actually, that's my biggest hope for this process, is that it really involves a lot of town staff, and in a helpful way, right? Just, what are we got going on, what's happening, and that kind of stuff, so.
Well, if you have, you also can control that timeline now that you have, you have more time if it's part of the 2026 budget, right? So you don't have to wait for March to find out if it's approved, and if they even made the March warrant article. So as a committee, are we in support of this option to use this fund source, or at least pursue it further?
If you wouldn't mind, if you would consider voting to support, then when it goes to BRC, I can, as part of DPW's budget, I can say that we brought it to facilities, this idea of it being part of the maintenance fund list, and that you're supportive.
Sure, so I'm sorry.
A little long-winded, excuse me.
I'm just typing notes as we talk. What are we going to be voting for? So, the committee is going to vote in support of,
Including the space needs assessment as part of the DPW projects maintenance fund for FY26.
DPW maintenance budget for FY26 that we said.
Correct.
All right. So the motion, I guess, on the table is that the committee is will vote in support of including the space needs assessment as part of the DPW maintenance budget for FY26. Does that make sense to everybody? Can I get a motion, or how do we do this?
I'll move and then appoint a discussion.
Okay, so you move, so then we have discussion.
Now we need a second first.
Oh, we need a second first?
Yeah.
Anyone for a second? Can I second?
Yeah.
I second then, okay.
Well, I just was wondering if you wanted to add, my understanding would be that the CIP then will not function.
So if it's okay with you, I would like to keep it on in
Yes.
case BRC or the
Okay.
select board makes the decision that they don't want to go down this avenue.
Okay.
That we still have the opportunity to put it on as a warrant, if that's okay.
Well, with that clarity, then I'm just wondering if we want to add the focus being the town office DPW 3032 Court Street Public Service Complex.
Yeah.
And not including the town, at this time, not including the town,
Okay,
except, I guess, town hall except finance.
Description will be revised to remove the town hall. Okay, I can do that quickly and send that to you also.
Sounds
Fine.
great, thank you.
Okay, so we'll take out the town hall from the assessment.
So just to remind you, you have a second on the table, you're in discussion, you will need to vote.
Yes.
Just so we don't forget the last part.
We'll have to vote for the modification.
All right, the FAC is in. Okay, so we gotta take a vote.
Before we vote,
Yeah.
are we going back to 50,000 or are we gonna leave it at 7?
That's a great question.
I'd say go back to 50,000.
750.
I mean, is that okay with everybody else?
If that is what the project
Yes.
you might be able to handle
Yeah.
from the maintenance side, I
Yes.
guess
Yeah,
take,
I got it, I
can
just,
take their whole budget.
I just know you brought it up.
Thank you.
All right, so the motion, the FAC is in support of including the space needs assessment as part of the space needs assessment as part of the DPW maintenance budget for FY26. Space needs assessment as proposed, I'm gonna say as proposed in the CIP. I'll have to wordsmith this to face this word, including space needs assessment as proposed in the CIP as part of the DPW maintenance budget for FY26. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous, we support it, so
Yeah.
great idea, thank you Melissa, that's great.
I'm gonna give credit to Steve Cronin, our DPW director, and Jeff Beck, our maintenance
That's great.
director. They came to us with the
Great.
concept. So
Great.
they're embracing the concept of getting a little bit better understanding of what we're doing with the building. So thank you.
And that is great, and that we have a tremendous amount of respect for that, so that's, and I think it is worthwhile for you to have a plan and not be ad hoc on things, so that's
Totally
awesome.
agree.
So,
That's good.
Would they require a seat at the table?
Yeah, so when we get to that process, I'm hoping that someone from administration, someone from maintenance could sort of go with you with the departments, or we can talk about how
Sure.
we do that. That would be very helpful for us.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we had that on the agenda. We also, the other part on the agenda was to develop the RFP outline. I think it would be better if we have missing Chris and Rob. I'd like to get a bigger group. So I'd like to table that if that's okay with everybody. And then the next up is new business. So Don, we had about the town library.
Yes,
That's new business.
being a frequent user of the town library and seeing Julie a lot, she pulled me aside one day and said, "You're on the Facilities Advisory Committee," and I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Well, we would like to do a long-range plan for the library, and they're starting out on that, so I'm just saying that that is what they would like to do." And I said, "Fine, I'll just bring it up so that it's, they want to do, I pulled this, if anybody wants to see it, it's in their minutes under trustees for the library. But it's a 5 to 10 year plan. end of 2026 goal, have a long-range plan ready to give to community. Then they went on to discuss 5 years or more, and they also want to take information from their association, ALA conference, bring in AI and technology. But they came at the end of that discussion that the trustees agreed that they really would like to develop a 5-year plan. And so I thought of that, and I talked offline to Mark that perhaps Julie would be very interested in coming and having a meeting with us and to talk about this further. And she says it's open, it's in the trustees' minutes, and so it's open for discussion. The other item that was in their minutes is that they want to, it was not in the original, I was on that the library committee at the time, and there was plans for a walkway along the river in back of the building, and that was taken out. So they're thinking of putting into the CIP project for 27, 1.1 million to start that process of getting that walkway in the back.
So I can add to that, so they have that in the CIP for 27, like you said, and they also are putting in similar, we're not sure if it's a revolving account. They'd like to start similar to what we did for parks, the Park Improvement Fund, for the library, because right now, the way that the funding sources work, the library and the town are separate, and it's a little bit confusing. But they don't have our maintenance department will help recommend who to call or what to do, but we don't provide maintenance for their building.
Right.
And so what they'd like to do is start a capital reserve fund that can get front loaded. They have, and I'm gonna say this wrong and I feel bad, poor Julia should probably be here, but I think there was some sewer issue on the second floor, and
Yes.
then there was an elevator that needs to be replaced and something else. But what they'd like to do is put a town warrant on to create this revolving account, fund it with some money, and that the trustees would be the agents to expend. So the town would be able to fund some maintenance projects for the library through this. This is a brand new concept. We haven't done this with the library before, hasn't gone to BRC. It does seem to make some sense, but it does need to be vetted through the process. But so Julia's got two things now.
Is it a revolving fund or a capital?
I know, and that's why I said two different things, excuse me, because I come from Massachusetts and I'm saying the wrong thing, so please excuse me. So it's either going to be a non-capital reserve fund, or excuse me, capital reserve fund, or it's a something trust, and I'm blanking on the word. Yeah, so but essentially it's gonna function, it's the details of, I'm sorry. I didn't have that on my brain to talk about today, but essentially a place for them to put money that doesn't get spent at the end of the year to save money up for building projects, building maintenance projects. Because as Julia will tell you, the renovation to the library was fantastic, but it didn't gut the building and start over. They had certain parts and sections, and so they're dealing with some original pieces, original parts of the building, and this is a maintenance fund of this type would help them deal with some of those original parts to the building.
So Don, are they updating their strategic plan, or are they coming up with like a facilities plan?
It's more of a facilities master plan.
Okay.
That's what I took it as too, yeah.
Master plan.
Yes, the town DPW is not involved in maintenance. Who owns the project in the library?
The library director.
Yeah. When we first started our committees, when they were doing the addition and renovation to the library, and it came up again as like, without oversight, and nothing we could address at that point, but it raised kind of the same thing about how do you provide support to the departments that they're not trying to manage these complex construction projects. At the same time, there was when Parks and Rec was trying to do a project, and same thing as far as a little bit of separation from the departments to help with managing scope, project controls, that sort of thing. So,
and I think we took from that at the time the administration, so town manager, it wasn't an assistant town manager, right? they were a part of it, but they weren't as involved. And so sort of to give that buffer of like the department head's needs and wants versus what our budget, So we're sort of, the administrative team is and the finance director are more involved now on these larger scale projects, and that was an adjustment that was made in about the last year.
Right.
So Dawn, next steps on that is to have, would she like to come in and talk more with us?
Yes, I think Julie would.
You want to talk to her and just find a time that works?
I think I'm going to be gone most of September, so I think it'd probably be October, and I can touch base with her and see when that would work.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would love to. She said she would be willing to talk to any of the groups that might be able to help her.
She's just doing an excellent job.
I agree.
Nice.
Completely. Her communication with the town has been fantastic. Working with Julia has been fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's been very nice.
Great. Anything more on?
Not for me.
Tim, any new
I'm all
business?
set, thanks, Mark.
Okay, Alan, new business?
All set.
Julie?
No, she's given anything I had to say.
Okay, that's great. Melissa, anything else for new business?
No, but thank
No,
you.
the only, I mentioned this peripherally, and so I won't have anything for the September meeting, but October, maybe there will be something more to report about the discussions of the train station.
Yeah. Okay, that would be great, just to
Yeah.
to continue being updated on that, so. Provide future. Okay, it's great. So, next meeting, I don't know what that is in September.
Look at like the 30th, Mark, is the last week in.
Okay,
No, that's a Tuesday. It's the 24th.
the 24th, okay, so a little bit earlier.
Well, if it's on the 24th, I can be here. I thought it was earlier in there.
I have this the 24th.
All right, so 9/24. No, any conflicts? Great.
I'll be returning from vacation, so I may or may not be available.
You gotta try, Tim. You're coming back from vacation. You're gonna want to be here.
Yeah.
We'll be all rested.
Yeah, batteries charged. Come on.
It's gonna be coming in on a red eye from Geneva, I don't know.
that's
Well, maybe we don't want you here. If you're so
Just as a heads up, if you don't see me, start without me.
you're our alternate, but you've been our voting member since you showed up. So, all right, good. So, I need a motion to adjourn, right? A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Aye.
Second. All right.
Second.
I gotta study this more. I gotta be more in line here. All right. Adjourn.
As an alternate, I'm not gonna make any more.
Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.